Welcome back to His and Hers Movie Podcast. This is episode number 48, featuring a review of the Devon Sawa film, Hunter, Hunter, that came out this year in 2020. It is New Year's Eve, 2020. That is December 31st. Wow, pretty crazy. We started this podcast 1 year ago. Wait, hold up. Damn it. Alright, you ready?
Yes.
Welcome back to His and Hers Movie Podcast. This is episode number 48, featuring a review of the newly released Devon Sawa film, Hunter, Hunter. Of course, from the year 2020. It is December 31st, 2020, the last day of the dreaded 2020. I am one half of your hosting duo, JP, podcasting out of Southwest PA, and joining me early in the morning for once is Carly, aka Sleeping In.
Shut up! Buddy, I'm tired.
I'm just saying, you said we would record the pod. I was ready to record the pod at 8 a.m., and it is now 10:30 a.m.
8 a.m.?
What?
You messaged me at like 9:50. Don't act like you were
I saw
like...
you weren't online, so I was going to wait to bother you.
Well, buddy, you waited, and it was still too early to bother me. See, I thought you were
no, this is bull. I asked you to record the pod late at night. It's too late. I asked you to record the pod early in the morning. It's too early. Make up your mind.
You're the one who thought it was too late last night. You're like, I'm tired. I just worked all day, and I'm tired.
I did go to sleep at, as soon as I got home, more or less.
Yeah, I went to sleep at, midnight. And also, I just thought you were lying. Like, you weren't actually going to wake up at 10 a.m. to record. And then I got a message that said, salutations, buddy. And I was like, sack.
Yeah, so this is officially our last episode of 2020. It'll probably post early 2021, I assume. I'm going to send it over to Phil today, but I don't know if he'll get to it since it is New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
But next week, we're not going to do a top 10 or anything because Carly is going to be joining us on 22 Shots for our end of year show, which we record that on January 8th, and then it'll post like a week later. So she'll actually be doing that on there, and there's no point to us really doing it twice. But I did want to discuss next week, not necessarily my top 10, because I haven't seen that much, but I wanted to highlight some things, maybe around 10 non-horror things that I watched this year that I thought were good. So I will do that next week, and if you want to list anything, you can as well.
Alright, I shall. I really haven't seen much.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, this week, I guess next year we'll next episode will sort of reflect on the year, since this is still technically before the year ends. And yeah, that's basically it. Anything going on with you?
Not much. I am a tired little guy, and I can't believe it's the last day of the year right now. It's kind of crazy. Doesn't feel like it. But, did you have a good Christmas, buddy?
Yeah, I did. You got me a bunch of stuff that I wanted, so I appreciate that. You got me a couple of Vincents, most notably the Beastmaster Vinegar Syndrome, which is the first title in their new line called Vinegar Syndrome U, or Vinegar Syndrome Ultra, which is featuring Ultra HD titles. So that release is insanely cool looking.
You're welcome.
and a couple of other Vinegar Syndromes that I thought was cool. And what else did you get me? Some Switch games, which I appreciated. Been playing some Spyro the Dragon, which is a game I grew up on when I was a kid. I used to actually, there was a place called Videoland right in Brownsville. I think I've pointed it out to you before. It's kind of like where that Big Banana used to be, like on that little stretch. I think it's a tanning place now, but it used to be called Videoland, and it was actually one of the smaller video rental stores that we had, but it had, you know, VHS, but it also had PlayStation games, and there was, I would go there and rent Spyro a lot. I don't know if it was Spyro 1 or 2. I definitely played 1 a lot when I was a kid. I think I even owned it at one point. I think I might have traded it for something else. And then Spyro, I think I played Spyro 2 or 3 as well. I used to rent that one. But yeah, I always really liked those games. They were a lot of fun. And I've been working my way through them. It's funny, when I was a kid, I just played them and didn't really have a purpose. But like, I'm trying to 100% them, or at least the first one. So in order to do that, you got to collect all the gems from each level. So I've been working on that, each level that I do.
Cool. Very cool, buddy. Yeah, you got me some thanks as well this Christmas.
Did I?
Yes, a few thanks. You got me one backpack, please, which I wanted really bad, and I love. It is one of those, like, Percy type backpacks. It has Jason on it, and I've gotten several compliments on it, so that has been cool. And you got me a Jason hat, which I thought was cool. And you also got me the Friday the 13th box set!
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I'm quite happy. I didn't even take the plastic off it yet. I'm, like, scared. But I am very happy with that. I can't wait. See, I can't wait for the new year, because then it's like, that's when you, like, don't really have anything to prep for, and then I could just watch all these moves that I have gotten, because you got me the Friday set, and then some other movies, and then, you know, a few other friends like Austin and Derek and people got me, and my mom even got me a few movies, so, and I also have just an ever-growing stack of films, so I can't wait for the year to end, because then I shall just chill and relax and watch some movies, because I have earned it. But it was a pretty good Christmas. I got some decent stuff from, like, everyone, honestly, in my family and my friends. Like, I got pretty much everything that I would have wanted this year, so it's been pretty good, I must say.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I always love the stuff you get me, especially the Vinegar Syndrome titles. Like, it always excites me. And I actually got my Vinegar Syndrome box package that I ordered for Black Friday in the mail too, which was really exciting because it took a while to get here, but yeah, I love how they package stuff and they put the little, like, Vinegar Syndrome tape around it. It's just, like, adds to your excitement because you know what it is right away.
Yeah. And I love their slip covers and just holding them. Like, I was like, I want to keep these when I got them for you because they're just so thick and nice. And like,
I ordered the 2 Forgotten Gialli box sets, and dude, those box sets are so nice. It's like the Amityville set. They're, like, done the same way, which is one of my favorite box sets I own, which you got me last year.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Those movies are actually fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. That was a cool box set. I really was happy, because those movies don't get, like, they never got any love at all, you know. They were even hard to get on DVD because they went out of print so long ago, but yeah, pretty cool. So I guess we can get into, and this will be the end of our blind spots. We did think about doing another challenge type thing, but I think right now we're just going to take it easy because, you know, watching an extra movie every other week was kind of a lot with 22 shots, and, you know, we still have the 05 show to prep and stuff. But when 22 shots goes on a break in the summer, we'll probably bring up some sort of challenge thing to do. I did enjoy doing it. It was fun. But it was like also a pain in the butt whenever you didn't like whenever you were on a short week or something. You're like, oh, I gotta watch this Blind Spot.
It got unfun during the holidays when I wanted to watch like Halloween and Christmas movies, but I had to watch like freaking Babe and stuff like that.
And I think that's why maybe keeping it to like a summer sort of thing into like maybe if we timed it right to start in like May, we could end by like October. But we did complete it. We did all 13 of the ones we wanted to do, so
I'm shocked that we completed it. I think we shall have a pat on the back.
Yeah, I mean, we were delayed a little bit. Like, some weeks we did 2 or skipped 1 and stuff, but it made sense why we did.
Yeah.
So, I guess let's go ahead and get into the what we watched portion. Did you go first last time, or did I?
I think that you did, because I think it would have been my blind spot that week. But we both did one. So,
right, so you can go.
Alright, let me see. Pull up my moves. Alright, so first up, I actually watched this one like the day we recorded last week, but I forgot to write it down, so I forgot to talk about it, and you had already talked about it, but Rent-A-Pal 2020, really enjoyed this film. This was, you know, of course, about the guy who is kind of lonely. He's like in his 40s, lives with his mom, doesn't really have any friends because he's sort of taking care of his mother who suffers from bad dementia, and he's looking for a girlfriend through this. Oh, I was gonna ask, is this stuff real? Like, was that ever a real thing?
Like that. Yeah, it was like
really.
It was basically like Plenty of Fish type thing before.
Yeah, like Tinder.
Yeah, it was called Video Rendezvous.
Mhm. Yeah, I was curious if that was a real thing because it seems crazy, but it seems like it would be the way to go back in like the 90s. But yeah, so he's doing like this video thing where you try to meet women through this company that you pay for, pretty much a subscription, and then you go there and get their video and then watch it and then see if you want to meet up with them. And he's not getting any matches, but then he finally gets a match, and movie kind of, you know, goes from there. It's all about his life and watching it kind of spiral and stuff like that. I thought it was very depressing. It doesn't really let up on the depression until you get like there's a few like kind of funny moments when he's like, Mom, I'm going to run an errand, and she like isn't even paying attention to him, and he's like just running out the door and leaving her alone. It's kind of like almost dark comedy in that way, but yeah, the whole movie I'm thinking like, wow, this is like really kind of bringing me down, but I liked it a lot for that reason, and definitely a good movie. I recommend it to people. I gave this like a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. Then after that, I watched a move that you actually included in my gifts. You gave me both of them, and that is Home Alone. You and I already watched Home Alone 2, so I popped in Home Alone 1, as I hadn't seen it in a while, from 1990, and yeah, I really like this movie. It's been a long time, like I said, since I watched it. It used to be, you know, one of my favorites I would watch around Christmas time, but I kind of got away from watching regular Christmas movies around Christmas since I always watch horror films and like horror Christmas movies. So this year I wanted to watch some, and Home Alone is good stuff. It's funny how Home Alone 2 is literally the same movie. They do so many of the same tropes and stuff like that the first one does, but it's just set in New York. And I agree with you, where I think I like Home Alone 2 a little bit better, but I think Home Alone 1 is more like the better made movie.
Yeah.
Because it's, Home Alone 2 just amps it up and makes it more ridiculous, where the first one feels slightly more grounded and maybe a little more well done, but I just find more entertainment in him going around New York. But first one is still really good stuff. I think I gave that like an 8.5 out of 10. Then I watched Black Christmas from 1974. Went over to my mom's on Christmas Day, and my Christmas Day was kind of sporadic because I was supposed to go to my grandpa's, but he was afraid because it was really snowy out and didn't want me driving up their hill, and then like my aunt was already doing something, so I just went to my mother's, and then we met up with my aunt expect after that, and A Christmas Story was on TV, and I always, you know, have to be that guy who's like, Mom, did you know this dude made another Christmas move? I tell my whole family this stuff, and no one apparently has heard of Black Christmas, and I just always thought it was like one of those ones like Halloween where you at least heard of it. But she was like, oh yeah, I did want to see that, so it was on Vudu for free. I logged into Vudu and popped it on, and she enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it too. I used to think it was like boring and slow, and I do still think it's pretty slow, but I think I appreciate the atmosphere, and I think it has some really creepy moments. I like the little beats of comedy within it, and it is a really good movie, you know, just a classic horror film to put on around Christmas time, and yeah, like I said, she enjoyed it, so I was happy. I was like, I know it's a little bit slow, and she was like, yeah, but all the 70s movies and stuff like that were like that, so it was a fun watch. I'm glad that she got to see it. I give Black Christmas, I think I give that like an 8.5 out of 10 as well. And then after that, I watched Impetigore. I don't know if that's how you say that, from 2019 on Shudder, you know, getting released in 2020. And this is, I think, Korean move. I believe it's some sort of Asian move where this girl inherits this house back in her old village, and they go to it, and then it turns out that there's like this curse that's plagued the village for all this time, and they think that the key of getting rid of it is to kill the girl, so it's sort of an agenda like that. I like this movie. It was pretty cool. I like the beginning. There's like a toll booth scene that I thought was really nifty, and there's a lot of cool shots in it, like when they're going to the actual village. It's just like this very grassy land, and I thought it was really well shot. Few creepy moments in it, and
there's a Pizza Hut in it.
No, nobody. There's a hut in it, and of course it looks like Pizza Hut because Pizza Hut's gimmick is that it looks like a hut. So, yes, but there's a Pizza Hut. No, but it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I feel like, you know, I wouldn't say it's like really a contender for me, but I liked it for what it was. I gave that like a 8 or a 7.5, somewhere around that. So, not bad. Then after that, I watched something that was called Ghost Story: Turn of the Screw, which was a BBC adaptation of The Turn of the Screw, a callback to probably our third or second, one of our earlier episodes where we did The Turning, and I kind of reviewed The Innocents as well, and all of that. This is from 2009, and the reason I watched this is because it was actually a Dollar Tree pickup, and I wanted to maybe start a series on my YouTube channel where I just review all the Dollar Tree movies I've accumulated over this year, and so on. And I figured I'll start with this because it's easy, it's an adaptation I already know, and yeah, it was decent. You know, I didn't feel like it offered anything new to the story, and maybe, you know, I just watched it like 2 other adaptations of the story this year, so it wasn't really that exciting to me, but it was alright. Like I said, it's a BBC film, and it's kind of told where the girl is like in a mental hospital retelling the story of what happened with the kids at the mansion and everything, and it was alright. It was just alright. It wasn't like anything mind-blowing, but I thought it was above average for sure. I gave this like a 7 out of 10, so it wasn't too bad. Then after that, I watched She Dies Tomorrow from 2020, because you said like people were kind of putting it on their list and whatnot, and I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty bored by this film. I thought it was just slow, and I think I just wasn't in the mood for it. I thought the concept was cool, you know, a girl just suddenly thinks has it in her head that she's gonna die tomorrow, and then all these other people start thinking the same thing, like, about themselves and whatnot. I couldn't really get into this one, to be honest, but I would maybe give it another shot down the line. For now, to me, it's just like a 6 out of 10. Wasn't too into it. And then, finally, last night, I watched The Golden Glove 2019. I wasn't even going to watch this. You told me to watch it, though, because you said it was seemed pretty good in the first 20 minutes. I wasn't going to watch it because everyone was like, oh, it's so nasty and gross. And to me, I thought they meant, like, it had moments in it that would make you want to gag or vomit. And I just can't really handle that anymore. Like, I can never really handle that. Very sensitive tummy I have. My mom is the same way. She's more so that way, though, than me. She can only watch, like, basic slashers, essentially, and not watch any gore. But, yeah, this movie was really good, though. It's about this killer. It's following this killer in the 1970s, and I believe it's based on a real killer from that time period. Actually, I know it is. It's based on some guy who killed like 4 women back in the 70s, and it's a German film. And he goes to this bar called the Golden Glove and kind of, you know, picks up women in there and stuff. He's very unattractive, and he kind of has like this thing where he's always wanting to get like a pretty girl, but he's always like picking up these sort of gross older women who you could tell are like down on their luck and don't really have much, and then he brings them back to his apartment and he kind of treats them like crap, but they kind of accept it because they're like, you know, who they are. And his apartment's just gross, and everything is like really nasty looking in the movie, and I like that. Himself is very nasty. So I see what people mean. They mean it's like nasty in the way that it's just grimy and makes you feel like you need to take a shower because everything in it just seems dirty and unclean. And I do like that. It reminded me of like the beginning bits of Necromantic that I refused to watch because we were eating a stack while watching it, and we did not want to watch that. So I liked it a lot. There's a few moments like in the middle where I'm like, okay, this kind of took like, it's kind of different now. It's going to like a different setting, and I didn't know if I really liked that, but I thought it was cool. I liked how it wrapped up as well. So I gave that an 8.5 out of 10. I saw most people weren't as high on it, actually. Like, just, I always look at Letterboxd things, and a lot of people kind of gave it like the 7 range, but I don't know. I really enjoyed it. So that is what I've watched.
I'm looking at your list here for 2020 watches on Letterboxd.
Uh-huh.
And I don't see Gretel and Hansel on there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like, I was just like randomly looking.
I do.
Oh, wait, there it is. I see it. Never mind.
Well, see, I do have this, it's driving me crazy. Like, there are 2 movies that I have on my Letterboxd list, because I wrote everything down in my phone as well, and in my phone, I have like 85 watches, and on Letterboxd I think it's 87, and that's really bothering me because I'm like...
Well, you have some stuff that isn't horror in there.
Well, yeah, I put those on my list though as well on my phone, so I don't know what I accidentally left out, but it doesn't matter that much anyway. I guess it's like 2 movies, but yeah, don't look at my moves.
Okay, my turn.
Fine.
Okay, so what do we have here?
You guys watch Rent-A-Pal and The Swerve.
I didn't watch a lot. So we have Creepshow Holiday Special. Did I talk about that one last time?
No. You told me about it, but I don't think you actually... No, I talked about it last time, that's why.
Yeah, it is a... I think it's like 40 minutes or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's a holiday special from the Creepshow TV series. And it basically follows this guy who goes to a support group for people who transform, and he thinks he's a werewolf, and when he gets there, he's like, it's sort of like an AA meeting, and he's like, you know, thinks he's a werewolf, and they're all like, oh, so you think you're a werewolf? And he's like, yeah, like, what do you mean? And he's like, everybody always thinks they're a werewolf. And they're like, you could change into all kind of things, and he's like, I'm a turtle, and like the other person's like, I'm a boar, and she's like, I'm a cheetah or something. And it's funny. Like, I thought the way they played on that was really funny. And you find out that it has to do with like Santa Claus and stuff like that, and then they're bombarded, and yeah, they have to like fight to survive and transform and stuff. It was pretty fun. I really liked it. I thought the comedy worked in it really well. I liked it much more than the animated special that they did that I never even finished. But But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Then I watched Impetigore, which is something that you watched as well.
Right.
It's a Shudder exclusive. Like you said, it follows this woman who inherits this place, and there's like a curse on this little village, and they are trying to kill her because she might have some kind of connection to the original curse. I thought it was pretty good. It's shot really well. It's creepy. There's some like good scenes in there. Kind of nasty at times. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Then I watched She Dies Tomorrow, which, like you, I really wasn't in it too much. It has some bleakness to it that I liked, and there are some like cool visuals that I liked, but I thought it was a little boring. I gave it a 6.5 out of 10.
Right.
And then I watched Spontaneous, which is about this high school in America where students are basically spontaneous combusting. They're basically exploding into a splat of blood. It reminded me of Ready or Not from last year.
Yeah.
And we follow this one girl who develops a relationship with another young boy, and it's sort of them, you know, trying to get through this thing. And yeah, man, I really like this one, like, a lot. It had, first of all, like, the like youthfulness of the characters is like so strong. Like, they really kind of hammer home, not even necessarily like directly in your face, but like you get the sense that like they truly are youths, you know, that like they have their whole lives ahead of them and stuff like that, and it really captures that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, good move.
And they, like, the fear, like, it's kind of ridiculous in a sense where it's like they're just exploding and there's really not an explanation on why, you know what I mean? And it's like a little silly in that way, but it doesn't take away from the fact that like their lives could be over at any moment, and how do you live with that? Like, there's some great scenes with the parents, like, just kind of like you can almost, if you, it's like they're terminally ill, right? Where it's like there's not that much rules anymore. It's like we could die. Most of us are probably going to die. Like, we can do kind of whatever we want in a way, and it just, I don't know, something about it just seemed very sad to me, and the relationship is put on screen like very well. I just think that it's a really good movie, and it is really effective. I really like this one. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
Nice. I'm glad you liked it.
And then I watched McMillions, which was like 6 episodes, like an hour long each, which this is why I should have like way more 2020 movies, but I've watched like 3 or 4 miniseries that are all like 6 hours and stuff. But this was an HBO documentary, and it essentially follows an FBI's investigation of the McDonald's Monopoly game being rigged, and they're investigating for fraud. And it is like super fascinating because I really didn't know anything about this, but when McDonald's launched that game in the 80s, all the way up until like the 2000s, the majority of the game was rigged, and the winners of like the million and the like big money, like 100,000 and you know, the big prizes were all fixed, like all of them. Which is just insane. You find out that it has ties to the mob and an ex-police officer. It's pretty fascinating how they pulled it off, and how, honestly, if they just would have like quit while they were ahead, they would have got away with it probably. But too many people became involved, and too many just too many people became involved in it, and it really was like unlikely that they were going to get away with it forever. But I thought it was a really cool documentary. I gave it an 8 out of 10. And then what else? I watched Sputnik from 2020. This one follows a satellite or a spaceship that's up in orbit, and when they return, one of the pilots is essentially infected with like a parasite or a symbiote, and it lives inside him, and it comes out at night and to like feed, and then it goes back inside him and stuff. And they get this doctor to come in and sort of study it, and of course it has like a corrupt government. It's a Russian film. I actually thought it was pretty cool. I think it runs a little too long. It's like almost 2 hours, and I feel like it's a little bit too much. But I really liked the alien. It was pretty cool. It reminded you a lot of Alien, like the face huggers, like those type of aliens, but a little bit different. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. It got some like cool kills in it and stuff like that. It is primarily CGI with the alien, but I still thought it looked good most of the time. So yeah, I gave that one a 7.5 out of 10. And then I watched Anything for Jackson, which is a it's being described as a reverse exorcism film. It follows this older couple. One's a doctor, and their grandson has passed away, and they get involved in sort of satanic rituals, and they capture a pregnant woman, and they basically want to put their grandson's soul or essence in the woman's unborn baby, and to sort of reincarnate their dead grandson. But they kind of messed it up a bit, and like some darkness happens. I thought this one was really good too. There's some really genuinely scary moments, like the vision of the woman like flossing her teeth out was like horrifying.
Yeah.
The snowblower kill thing was pretty terrifying. There's some good stuff in there. I thought it was a really good movie. I gave it an 8 out of 10. And then me and you went and seen a movie 2 days ago in West Virginia, because we don't have theaters open in PA. And I really didn't think about it. Like, I mean, I may have thought about it like briefly a while ago, like, hey, we could technically go to that theater one day if we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd never really considered it. And then Lacey had posted a review of this movie and said it was really good. And I thought it might be a horror film, so I was like, this could be like one of the last theatrical films we were able to see if we could figure out a way to see it. And I looked at it was playing in West Virginia, and we, being on the western part of Pennsylvania, we're only about like 40 minutes from West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it, like 50 minutes to get to that theater?
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's pretty much, it's like the same amount of time as it takes us to get to some of the other theaters in Pennsylvania. So. Yeah,
so we actually have a good bit of theaters around us. We have the one that's like kind of in our hometown, the town next to it, which is really close. It's like 15-20 minutes away. Mm-hmm. But that is also the worst theater we have. It's literally scum. Like, do you like whenever you walk into the actual, the screen room, and you like go to sit on the chairs? Do you not feel like you're sitting in like waste, like toxic waste or something?
Well, yeah, especially since a lot of times you go in and they have some chairs like put off with like caution tape, and that's before the pandemic. It's not to like separate them, it's just like the chairs are either broken or who knows. So.
Yeah, one time we went in and they had a section taped off because the roof was leaking.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, that theater I don't think has been updated in the time I've been alive, and it used to be a Carmike's, and they made it an AMC, but they just tacked on AMC and never actually renovated it. So
100%, the seats that are in there now, 100% were in there when I was in elementary school. I don't know the first time I ever went to that theater, but I remember, like, the first time I remember going to it, I was in, like, 6th grade or something, 5th grade maybe, and I remember that the seats are exactly the same. Exactly the same. And I went there a bunch of times in high school and stuff like that. And it's just got more and more disgusting over the years. Like, it is actually, like, gross. Like, the seats feel like they're covered in, like, sticky. You know what I mean? It's just nasty. And the floor is just a sticky mess. And everything looks dirty. Like, the carpets are completely, like, black. They used to be red.
Especially when you, like, look at the theater that we just went to and any other theater around us, you realize just how, like, living in the early 2000s this theater is, or even the 90s, because it's just so many AMCs are so nice and updated now, and the chairs are, like, so nice, and it's just so poppin'. And then you go here, and it reminds me of, like, being 6 years old.
Yeah, I always, whenever it was open, like, I always want to spend money there and, like, hope that, like, I get excited when I see a line of people, because I'm like, man, if this theater gets really successful or, like, has a comeback, maybe they could redo it one day. Like, I don't want that theater to die, because that's literally the closest one to us. Everyone else is, like, 40 or more minutes away.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it'll ever happen. Of course, we have a drive-in that's probably 6 minutes from your house. And then we also have, like, a bunch of them spread out in all directions, like 40 minutes away. Like, we have one in Greensburg, which is, like, you know, a pretty decent one. We don't go to that one often, because they kind of get the same movies that all the other ones do. They're a little bit closer, but we go to it every once in a while. The Waterfront, which is probably, like, the best big one. Like, there's a shit ton of, you know, I don't know what it's called. You know, the what is the actual room that you see the movie in called? Theater?
I don't know. I just call it the theater. I don't know.
They have, like, a ton of
auditorium,
screens.
I guess.
Yeah, they have, like, a lot of screens at that one. So if there's a movie playing, chances are it's going to play there, that one's about an hour away from us. And then we have another one that is not an AMC. It's a locally owned one, and that one is it's called the Luxury Theater. I really like that one too, and they get some stuff that's unique sometimes, but we have to pay for that one because we have the AMC A-list thing, and that one isn't AMC. Is there? Oh, there's that one in South Hills that we go to sometimes. Is that where it is? South Hills Village?
Well, we went to that one once. There's also that one in Westmoreland area, too, that we don't really go to that one that much. But we went to South Hills to see The Turning. That's all we went to see there. Because we're not as familiar with that area.
Yeah, I thought we went there twice, but I could be wrong.
No, buddy.
Yeah, so we have a bunch. And this one, I'm glad we went to it because it's easy to get to. And it's actually it's honestly closer than most of them to us. It might be like the second closest.
Yeah.
So that is pretty cool. And they had it was funny because they had like you had to answer these questions before you went into the theater. Like there was someone standing there and they were asking you questions like, have you come into contact with anybody with COVID? Has anybody in your family had COVID? And then what was the other thing they asked?
If you've, like, had any, like, symptoms, and if you've had a fever or anything like that.
Right.
Pretty
And
much.
then they scan your forehead with a temperature gun, and I'm like, wow, this is why Pennsylvania is shut down.
Yeah, it's, like, why couldn't we have done that? Because, like you said, no one has done that at all in Pennsylvania. Right. So it's like... I wonder if they do that everywhere there, or if it's just like the theater. Like, I wonder if the restaurants and whatnot in West Virginia partake in that, or what.
Yeah, but we saw A Promising Young Woman, which is a Me Too movement film. Basically follows a woman who is she dropped out of med school, and she essentially is baiting potential sex offenders into going out with her. She pretends to be drunk, and then she confronts them when they try to make a move on her. And I, like, the one thing that would make this a horror movie if she was killing them.
Mm-hmm.
But she's not. She's just kind of like, haha, got you type thing. And, like, trying to teach them a lesson. But then she, and it's told throughout, but there's something that happened to her in college that is haunting her, and that's why she's doing this stuff, and it's slowly revealed throughout the film. I thought this one was really good. I think that the thing that I liked about it was that I've seen a bunch of these Me Too movements, and the one fatal flaw for me that always seems to make me not like them is they portray males specifically in an unrealistic way, where they just make them almost like caricatures of a rapist or a sex offender or like a, you know, abuser, and they make it feel unnatural. Like they make it feel like everybody's just scum, but not in a realistic way where it feels like it's something that somebody would actually say or act like. And I feel like in this movie, because she was specifically seeking out scummy people, it wasn't like, oh, everybody's scum. It was like she's targeting scum. So
yeah,
you know, it works a little better. Now I will say there is a little bit of that thing where it's like, okay, everybody's just a piece of garbage. But I think they keep it to a minimum compared to the other films I've seen like this. And honestly, like, I think that it's edited really well. The soundtrack's good. The storytelling is well done. I think it's just a really good movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one. I thought it was going to be like a horror revenge film too. Even the trailer kind of made it look like it might be, but wouldn't consider it horror. It's more like thriller, kind of comedy actually. Like there's some funny moments in the film, and I liked it. I liked the main girl, and a lot of the other. I thought all the actors were really good in this film. And it kind of reminds me of like kind of like MFA, which I watched earlier in the year to do on Exploding Heads.
Yeah, but see, that was one where I also felt like they just made everybody seem like scum as well.
Kind of like it's like more of a toned down version of that in my head, just because like that one's kind of like has the college aspect and like revenge, and the girl's kind of seeking out certain people. But yeah, I did enjoy this film. It's kind of long, but it also has like a lot going on. You know, like the girl works at this coffee shop, and then she kind of has like this dorky guy trying to get with her, and then she's doing the stuff where she's picking up guys at the bar, but it's not all just that. So it kept me very intrigued throughout the whole thing. So I am glad that we saw it. Like I said, you know, I wouldn't really put this on a horror list or anything like that, but I think it's worth a watch, and it's a Me Too movie that's not super cringe. And I was expecting cringe kind of when we went into it, but I was pleased because I didn't really cringe.
And I think that the third act gets really shocking and goes places you don't expect it to. And they also use that song Morning Angel like perfect in this movie.
Right.
I really like that, how they incorporated that song. But yeah, I gave it an 8 out of 10.
I think that's what I gave it as well. 8 out of 10.
Or sorry, I gave it 8.5. Even better.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, let's get into our blind spots. I shall go first. Alright, my blind spot was Taxi Driver, 1976, directed by the one, the only, the man, Martin Scorsese. And he is one of the best filmmakers of all time. It's just a fact, you know. I think a lot of people, cinephiles, hold him in high regard. I mean, he's made some of the best movies in the history of cinema, like literally. And I haven't seen like all of his filmography, not even close, but I have seen a handful of his films, and I haven't seen a single film of his that I didn't like. I don't know if you have or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, I don't know he's done. What, Goodfellas, Taxi Driver?
He's
Did he do
done.
the Bronx Tale, or is that a different guy?
He did. No, I don't think. No. Did De Niro do Bronx Tale?
Oh, he might. Oh, I think. Yeah, he did. He starred in it and did it.
He did Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, The King of Comedy, which I've never seen. The Color of Money, The Last Temptation of Christ, Cape Fear, Goodfellas, Casino.
Okay.
Have you seen Casino?
No, I've seen bits and pieces of it on TV, but I never sat down and watched the whole thing.
It is amazing. It's essentially like another Goodfellas. Like, it's maybe not quite as good, but it's really up there. If you ever, like, that's one that I would love to give you for a blind spot one day, or maybe we could just sit down and watch it, because it got De Niro and Pesci, and it's like very similar in the stuff that's going on. There's one really brutal scene in it. But yeah, it's a great movie. Great movie. Love Casino. I've only seen it one time, back in like 2013 or 14. My boss actually lent me a DVD copy and I watched it. But yeah, it was really good. I've seen that one before. Gangs of New York, which is a really good one. That one is set in 1927, I think, or it's set a little earlier in New York, I think. I hadn't seen that in a long time. The Aviator, which is really good. That one stars Leonardo DiCaprio. The Departed, which is, have you seen The Departed?
Well, basically, because you showed me clips of it.
No, you haven't seen it.
I've seen it.
The Departed is amazing. Probably, honestly, I don't know. I mean, he has so many good movies, but it's one of his better later films. Shutter Island, which is maybe his second sort of horror type movie, if you count Cape Fear. You've seen Shutter Island?
Yeah, I've seen I've seen Cape Fear, obviously, Goodfellas, Taxi Driver, and I think Shutter Island is like the last one. I've also read Shutter Island, and yeah, that movie's pretty good adaptation of the book.
Yeah, I've never read the book, but I love what he does with the ending there, man. It's so good and powerful, and I didn't catch it like at the like all of it. I caught like the twist, but I didn't catch like the final thing until like years later. But yeah, it's a great movie. And then he did The Wolf of Wall Street as well, which I've never seen.
Yeah, me neither. So I've only seen 4 of his movies then.
Yeah, but he's made some fantastic films. Of course, he did The Irishman that came out this last year on Netflix. I never watched it because it's like 3.5 hours. But okay, so Taxi Driver follows Robert De Niro, who gets a job as a taxi driver in New York City. It's set in the backdrop of a decaying and morally bankrupt New York City. Is he not a veteran? Yeah, he was a U.S. Marine in Vietnam. Who was honorably discharged, and he's living in New York City. He frequents a 42nd Street porn theater. There's a lot of like inner dialogue that you hear, like sort of a narration type thing, in his head that he sort of talks and stuff, which I really like that about it. He's kind of just disgusted with the sleaze and the grime and the grit and the dirtiness of the city. He tries to meet this girl and date her. It doesn't really work out, but he also has his eye on a prostitute played by a young Jodie Foster. She's supposed to be 12 and a half in the movie. I don't know how old she was in real life.
I believe she was 12.
But he tries to basically save her from her life of exploitation. It's kind of a weird movie because it's like, I don't know, like he's sort of he becomes a vigilante, but I don't really know why.
Because I think it's like he just wants to, he's kind of living like a plain life, like he, lives in this crappy apartment and all he's doing is being a taxi driver, and I think he just feels that he has to like do something else, and he starts like kind of going mad, essentially, and
I don't know, it doesn't feel like he's mad though, because people compare this to Joker, where I think Joker is really going mad. I just think that he, like, and here's why. There's many scenes where he's looking at himself in a mirror and fantasizing about using his guns and stuff like that. He buys all these guns and he's like, so it's almost like it's not like he's crazy, he just wants to be something, or he wants to make a change, or he just wants to feel important or something.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. I just see, like, kind of the part with the guns and whatnot is a little, I find that, not maybe mad, but just, like, he, like, becomes almost obsessed with, like, being this important person who, like, makes a change.
Yeah, he's, like, pure fantasy mode at that point.
Yeah.
He's playing out scenarios in front of the thing. He's pulling his gun. Even when he's, like, just chilling watching TV, he has the gun in his hand.
Yeah.
He's, like, obsessed with it, and he has this sort of unhealthy relationship with these weapons early. It's an interesting movie. It really, and I think that there's like amazing jazzy saxophones in the score, which I just love, especially in New York, early New York, with the grime and the dirt. I mean, the streets are just filthy. There's trash everywhere. I love that look, dude. It's just in today's filmmaking, films set in New York just don't look like that ever anymore. And it's just an era. The 70s and 80s New York is one of my favorite things in film. Love it. But yeah, I thought this movie was pretty amazing. Robert De Niro looks so young in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought Harvey Keitel's also in here. But yeah, it's a great movie. I really liked it. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
I'm glad you liked the move, buddy.
Joe Spinell's actually in this too.
Oh yeah, he's like kind of scummy, but in a different way. But yeah, so I guess my blind spot was Dangerous Minds from 1995.
Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Dude, what?
I was going to say that I, the other night, I think it was Saturday or something like that, I was like at home watching this movie, Dangerous Minds, and my aunt and mom were like in a group text, my Aunt Neely, like on my dad's side, and she like sent some board game and she was like, come over and play, and I was like, I'm in the middle of a move, and they were like, what move? And I said, Dangerous Minds, and they were like, oh yeah, I've never seen that, both of them never seen it, but they said they liked the song in it. I was like, what, that Gangster's Paradise song? And they were like, yes. And I was like, geez. I was like, I'm surprised by that. And my mom was like, yeah, me too. And she was like, but I always liked that. And then my aunt was like, oh, I like gangster rap. And then she like proceeded to like say some other stuff. But I thought that was weird.
When this movie, I had this movie on VHS as a kid, and back before the internet, you couldn't, like, if I want to hear Gangster's Paradise, I just YouTube it or Spotify it and listen to it, right? But back then, I didn't have means to do that. I didn't have it on tape or CD or anything. So I would start the movie, and you know how, like, it shows that montage of, like, the school buses and the black and white, and, like, it has that song, and it's showing all the characters and kids and stuff like that?
Yes.
I would just play that over and over again to listen to part of that song.
The struggle of the 90s.
I love how that opening looks with the it just sets the tone so well. You know what I mean? Like the tone of, but it sets not the tone of the movie, but it sets the backdrop of of the society and the inner city there. I love that scene, the opening.
It goes through like the whole song too. Pretty
Does
much.
it? I mean, I can't remember.
Maybe it's just like it might not be the whole thing, but like it goes on for a long time. So, but yeah, I like it too, and I think it's the perfect song to like fits with that sort of background. But the movie itself is about this woman who I believe she's a former Marine, and she always wanted to be a teacher, and she comes back and gets an interview at this school. And essentially, they are like, okay, can you start today? And she's like, what the heck? And she was like, heck yeah, I want to teach. And then she has a buddy who works, he's also a teacher at the school. And he's like, do you, like, know what you're getting into? Are you sure about this? And she was like, yeah, I'm sure. And the principal kind of explains, like, a little bit about the class, but in a vague way. I forget what she, like, calls it, but just kind of saying, like, there are kids who maybe aren't as intelligent or as well up and stuff like that. And she's like, yeah, I know what I'm getting into. And then she goes in there, and the kids are all just kind of running amok, and there's like a rap battle going on in the middle of the class, which I'm pretty sure I have a teacher like in high school who I feel like just stole this from, because he said he used to teach at an inner city school, and he said he walked in once and there was like a rap battle going on, and he just walked out, and I feel like he just like stole it from this movie to like sound cool, but who knows, that could have happened. But she goes in and she's like, what the F? And then she walks out and she's like, I can't teach these kids. And dude's like, come on, you gotta just do it your way. And then she goes home, kind of like is thinking up a plan, and then she goes in the next day with like a whole different attitude and tries to basically start connecting with them, and it actually kind of works, and the kids grow a liking to her, and she starts getting them to, you know, reach their potential a little bit more, and then she gets more involved with some of their like personal lives and whatnot, and that's sort of the basis of the movie. I enjoyed the film. I thought it was good. I like these movies where, you know, it's kids that have a hard life and living in the inner city, they're kind of poor, and they're probably intelligent, but they just don't care enough to...
They're not given a chance to succeed. And that speaks on a whole of sort of the poor schools and the low academic schools in general. Like, that's true. It's real life, you know what I mean? Like, and just even, you know, people who grew up in rough neighborhoods, it's so easy to fall victim to that lifestyle because it's all you see and all you know, and it seems like a way to get out of the situation you're in, because school doesn't really help you and you don't have guidance, and it's just it's sad, but it is really true. Have you seen Freedom Writers?
I have not.
Okay.
I know that's like the same story though, pretty much.
It is, and I actually thought that it was just a rework of this movie, where it was like based on, because I knew it was based on a book, and I just thought it was the same book that Dangerous Minds was based on. But so Dangerous Minds is based on a true story of a Marine, Luann Johnson, who in 1989 took up teaching at a school in California where her students were mostly black and Latino, and it, you know, poverty-stricken, racial segregation, all that stuff, economically deprived city, and it was essentially it was essentially, you know, based on her book that she wrote called My Posse Don't Do Homework. And yeah, it was really well done. But the Freedom Writers, I actually saw Freedom Writers back in 2007 in the theater, actually around this time. It came out in January of 2007. So that one is essentially the same thing, kind of a young teacher who is full of, it's not a Marine, but she's full of like sort of you know, determination, takes control of the same type of class, you know, racially divided, and deals with the same stuff. But that one was actually based on a teacher named Erin Gruwell, who compiled a book out of real-life diary entries of the kids that lived in her English class. Not lived in her English class, but the kids that lived in the city in her English class. And it's a very similar movie. Like, it almost feels like a remake. But it stars Hilary Swank, and if you like that one, you would like this one too, because it's the same type of movie. Actually, funny enough, Danny DeVito produced Freedom Writers.
Callback. No, that is weird actually, because I didn't think Freedom Writers was a remake, but I thought they were both just based on that same Posse Don't Do Homework book. Like, I thought they were based on the same, I guess, source material. So that's interesting that it's just two different things that happen to be very identical.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool movie, Dangerous Minds, and Freedom Writers is also really good. Freedom Writers is right up there. I mean, it's just as good. But I remember seeing it. I remember going to see it at a theater, and we would just, I think I was like on a date or something like that, you know what I mean? Where it was like just me and like all my friends and their girlfriends and, you know, just like a bunch of kids getting together to go see a movie. And it didn't really matter what the movie was, you know, we just were doing it to do it. And I remember the movie was playing, and like I actually started getting really into it while my friends are just like being jerks in the theater and being loud and obnoxious and stuff like that. Which is always me. That was always me. Like we would throw on a movie for like background or something, and then I would be the one that would get into it because I was like the cinephile, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, check out Freedom Writers one day when you get a chance. It's really good.
All right, I shall.
What did you rate Dangerous Minds?
I give Dangerous Minds an 8 out of 10. I liked it.
Yeah,
it had some emotional parts too that were pretty cool.
Yeah, and funny enough, it actually spawned a television series, which I had no idea about. And it only ran for one season in 1996 with 17 episodes.
Isn't it funny how many like television series like just fail? So like there's been so many TV series based off movies or books, and they just completely tank, and you don't even hear about them because
you think of stuff like that all the time. Like, do you remember That 80s Show?
I never like try to watch it, but I do recall that being them trying to do that and it completely just not working out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but that happens all the time. You always find, like, doing the 22 shots, like, we found out about that Omen one that existed.
Yeah.
Like, it's really funny how that happens, but, anyway, so I guess that's it for the blind spots. Want to get into our featured review?
I do.
Alright, so our featured review this week is Hunter x Hunter. It stars Devon Sawa, who, you know, has done a lot in horror. You know, Final Destination, Idle Hands. Maybe not a lot in horror, but he's been in some stuff. Of course,
The Fanatic,
a film that me and you really liked from last year called The Fanatic. It actually made your top 10. I did not understand the hate for that movie. Like, people almost like, it's like they didn't want to even take it serious. You know what I mean? It's like they expected it to be garbage.
Yeah, I still don't understand what everyone's problem was with that. They made it seem like it was like a 3 out of 10, and it was actually a very entertaining film. But yeah, he was in that. He looks very different. Even in this movie, I was like halfway through, and I was like, oh yeah, Devon Sawa was like playing the like dad character, because I just don't recognize him as an like.
I actually recognized him more in The Fanatic.
I didn't like know that was him at all in The Fanatic until the credits rolled at the end. I was like, holy crap! But
so yeah, Hunter x Hunter follows Joseph, played by Devon Sawa, and his family live in a remote wilderness as fur trappers. But their tranquility is threatened when they think they are being hunted by the return of a rogue wolf. Joseph leaves them behind to track it. So you have a father, a mother, and their, 12, 13-year-old daughter. And right away we get this like sort of bonding scene with Devon Sawa and his daughter, and you know, he's teaching her the ways of like trapping and hunting and skinning animals and stuff like that.
Yes. Which is something I could never do.
Me neither, I don't think, but it reminds me of my neighbor who has 2 young daughters, and his youngest daughter is like just like that girl. Like she's out there hunting and skinning animals and stuff with him all the time, because he's a huge like hunter, like tracker, like he has chickens, and like he tries to be self-sufficient.
Mhm.
But yeah, so there's this wolf, and a wolf is a big deal for the sort of the area, because it's eating their animals, like they're trapping animals, and this is their livelihood. You know, they have to sell these furs to order to make ends meet. You know what I mean? And they're trapping animals, and the wolf is coming by and eating the animals off of the trap and leaving their severed leg behind. So this is a big deal. They got to deal with this situation. They got to kill this wolf. And this one's going to be really hard to talk about, and this is about as far as I'll go because it happens so early. But when he's tracking this wolf, he spots the wolf eating a severed hand, and it leads him to find a shocking revelation in the woods. And that is about as far as I'll go. This is going to be a very short review because I think that figuring out what's going on is one of the fun aspects of this movie. You actually interpreted it in an entirely different way than I did, what you thought was going on with like red herrings. And I was giving you a little bit of crap for it, because I was like, I never thought that at all. But I actually was listening to a podcast, and somebody else thought that way too.
Oh, really? Yay!
Yeah, so you're not dumb.
I was gonna get upset just now that you... Wait, what?
Nothing. What?
I was about to get mad because you were bringing that up. I was gonna say that never happened, but since you were giving me credit, I am okay now. Yeah, I took it a different way, and, but, I mean, by the end, like, I knew that's my way. I would realize, like, my way was not correct. So, but, yeah, this movie, I thought I was gonna like it a lot, because, well, like, I saw Jeremy saying, like, oh, it's a bleak, depressing film, and I've been kind of into those, but I don't know. I wasn't super into this one, to be honest. I mean, it's a good movie. I'm not going to lie. It is good. I think the setting is cool. I think it's, you know, just eerie in general that this family lives out in the middle of nowhere and just kind of does their own thing. And, like, having one thing like a wolf around could really put a damper on your whole life because it takes away your food and your money and everything. But I just wasn't that enthralled with it. I thought it was kind of slow, and I thought that it kind of is good, and then it has that really amazing, brutal sort of ending, and that really sells it. But the movie as a whole, I just wasn't super into. Like, it's not something I would ever feel like watching again.
You are wrong, because this movie is great. The only issue that I have with it is one of the character decisions of the father. I'm just like, I don't know. I guess I can get it, but at the same time, it just seems kind of stupid.
Yeah, he's a more effing on.
But, like, dude, I mean, I thought this movie was incredibly suspenseful, and it was, like, scary, and it goes in a very nasty territory, and I love that. It is a bit of a slow burn in the beginning, but really to me, what breaks up that slow burn is what the father finds out in the woods that I just thought was done so well, and it looked so realistic, and it reminded me of what that would actually look like, and it actually got under my skin and made me, like, kind of scared, you know, and just like, wow, like, this is horrible. I watch a lot of true crime stuff, and one of the scary things for me about true crime is, like, whenever, like, that one that I just watched with the family in the, you know, the American Family or whatever, where the guy kills the daughters and the wife. That like, whenever they describe like how he killed them and got rid of the bodies and stuff, it just deeply disturbs me. And I'm not saying that's what happens in this movie, because, you know, it's not. But, you know, that sort of disturbing quality exists in this movie as well. And there's a very powerful scene in the third act that it really sold me on the entire movie. If I wasn't already sold, it upped my rating. So I thought it was pretty great. I think Jeremy was right about this one. For me personally, I thought it was a really good movie.
Yes, well, no, I thought it was really good. Like, I still rated it pretty high. It's just, like, it didn't blow me away like everyone else. And I thought it was rather, it took a while for me to really get into it, I feel. So, like, it didn't captivate me from the start, so I was kind of like, but it did have some creepy moments. It did have some tense moments. I was annoyed by the, whatchamacallit, not the cops, but like the ground. I don't even know who if those were cops or what they were, but I thought they were annoying because it was the basic like, oh, we don't believe you type of bullcrap, and that made me not like them. But it did have a really good ending, and it was a really gross type of ending, and I thought that was cool. But overall, I mean, it's a good move. It's a good move, but just not really my cup of tea.
Alright, let's get into ratings. I gave this puppy an 8.5 out of 10.
I see. I mean, I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so you liked it.
No, I'm just saying I'm not gonna give it like a 5 out of 10, buddy. Like that, you know how I rate. God bless America. Wanted me to read Letterboxd reviews.
Oh, I totally forgot.
Yes. Oh well. Okay, let's see. Here is a 2.5-star review, and this is by a guy named Sam. And Sam fancies, if my phone shall load, shall it load, shall it load. Oh, there we go. Sam's favorite movies are The Wages of Fear, Twin Peaks, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and Mad Max Fury Road. Good for you, Sam. Good for you.
Wow, you know what? A lot of people actually didn't like this one, like me and Jeremy. I'm seeing a lot of 3s.
Yeah, that's what I noticed too. But this guy said, after a really strong start, it fell apart slowly but surely, and unfortunately got predictable and rather bland and lost most of its initial charm and my interest, TBH. I mean, it's not a bad movie, just nothing special, really, with a face. So, yeah, I disagree with him. I felt the exact opposite in the movie.
Right,
where I felt I was bored, and then I got into it, like, later.
I have one for the positive review. This is from Tim McMillions, and his favorite films are Matrix,
going to read that one,
Sin
actually.
City, Galaxy Quest, and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Doesn't seem to watch a ton of horror. Alright, so he says, a slow burn that pays off with one of the most brutally violent and heinous finals I've ever seen. I don't know about all that, but that ending is amazing while being phenomenally disgusting! Exclamation point. I was enjoying this movie just fine, but that ending turned this into one of the most shocking and surprising films I've seen all year. This movie is not what I expected, but it blew me away with one of the most finest moments of gore I've ever laid eyes on. Bravo, you sick bastards. Bravo.
I see. Yes, I was going to read that review, and I can tell that you just thought I wasn't, so you felt like you...
Well, buddy, you know what they say. I'm better than you.
No, no one has ever said that.
They say it. It's like a penny saved is a penny earned. You know.
Uh-huh.
Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
What? No, what?
Don't shit where you eat.
Buddy, no. But no one has... No, those are actual, like, real sayings.
Yeah,
no one
this
has
is
said...
a saying, too.
No, it's
they
not.
Say it.
In fact, people say the opposite. They
No,
say, like,
don't.
I'm better than you. When there's snow on the ground,
don't have your ear to the ground. What'd you say?
I said, when there's snow on the ground, I won't be around.
Did I say that once?
Yeah, you said that once.
Alright, so that's the final episode of 2020. I hope you guys enjoyed. We will see you guys next time with another review. Now, going into 2021, it's going to be hard to find a newly released film to do week 1, I think. We'll try our best, but I'm not sure we'll be able to find something. If not, we'll figure something out. But any final words for 2020?
Hopefully 2021 is better and we get some good moves.
Yes, good moves.
Good move.
Alright, so with that said, I will see you guys next time. She will see you next time. Peace out.
Bye.